Alone in the prince's room, Tom made good use of his opportunity. He looked in the mirror, drew the beautiful sword, and bowed. He kissed the blade and laid it across his breast, as he had seen a knight do. He wondered if his family would believe the tale he would tell when he got home. After 30 minutes had passed, he suddenly realized that the prince had been gone a long time. He began to feel lonely. He stopped playing with the pretty things around him and grew uneasy and restless. What if someone came in and saw him wearing the prince's clothes? They might arrest him. With these thoughts his fear grew and grew. Slowly he opened the door. 6 servants bowed before him. Tom slipped back into the room and shut the door. Then a servant entered and announced, "The Lady Jane Grey." Tom recognized the name. It was Edward's cousin. Earlier the prince had told Tom about her. A young girl entered the room. She was walking toward him when she suddenly stopped. "What ails you, my lord?" she asked kindly. "Be merciful," Tom said. "I am not the prince. I am Tom Canty of Awful Court. Please let me see the prince so we can switch our clothes back." By this time Tom was on his knees. Jane was horrified that the prince should bow on his knees before her. She ran away in fright. "Now they will come and take me away," Tom murmured to himself. After Lady Jane told the story to one person, news quickly spread throughout the palace. Everyone thought that the prince had gone mad. Soon the king made an official proclamation. No one was to utter a single word about the prince being insane. Slowly poor Tom walked out of the room. He was trembling and bewildered. Soon he found himself in another room. When he looked up, he was staring into the stern face of King Henry. The king's face grew gentle. He asked Edward, "Why would you try to fool your father with this silly game?" When he saw the look of fear and confusion on Tom's face, the king believed the rumors of the prince's madness. "Come to your father's son," he said. The nobles in the room looked concerned. A servant assisted Tom to his feet. He was still trembling as he approached the king. The king took Tom's face between his hands and pressed the boy's head against his chest lovingly. "You are breaking my heart," the king said sadly, shaking his head. "Don't you know your own father?" "I beg to you, have mercy on me," Tom pleaded. "I was born a pauper. It is only by accident that I am here." The king assured Tom that nothing bad was, overjoyed and sprang to his feet. He asked if he would be allowed to go. "Yes, you may go if you like," the king said. "But why don't you stay a while longer? Where would you go?" "I thought I was free to go," Tom said. "I want to go to my humble home. I want to see my mother and sisters." The king was saddened again by this made talk from his son. Hopefully he thought the prince's wits were sound in other areas. So he asked him a question in Latin. Tom answered him with a blank stare. "This proves that his mind is diseased," the king said. The court doctor agreed. The king decided to test Tom further and was disappointed when Tom failed to speak to him in French. "My son is mad, but it is not permanent," the king declared. "Be sure to strain his mind. Mad or sane, this boy will one day reign." He ordered that Tom be inducted to his official princely duties as soon as possible. One of the nobles in the room reminded the king that the great Marshal of England, the Duke of Norfolk, was in prison in the Tower. The Duke had been sentenced to death for treason. Until another great marshal was appointed, there was no one to induct the prince. "Command Parliament to carry out the Duke's sentence before dawn," the king directed. "My son is not to be kept waiting forever." "You are good to me and I am unworthy," Tom said. "It grieves me to think of that man dying because of me. He stands between you and your honor," the king explained. "Do not be troubled by the matter. Go and play. I am not feeling well and must rest." With a heavy heart, Tom left the room. He knew that he had no hope of being set free. His old dreams had been so pleasant, but being a prince had turned out to be very unpleasant.